Welcome to a bag dump for a trip to the Amazon. So I hope this will be beneficial to you so that you can know what you need to pack when it's time to go. First thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about bags. The first bag you need to take is something you could check on the airplane. This is going to hold your clothing, your toiletries, stuff like that. I recommend something that is either waterproof or water resistant. This is the one I take. It's a North Face bag. I think it's the size large. It's a water resistant bag. It's not waterproof, but it's water resistant. The reason you're going to want that is when you take the shuttle, or excuse me, the plane from Manaus into the jungle, most of our luggage will actually be in the pontoons of the float plane boat. Not a lot of water in there, but there's going to be some. And you're going to want to get there and have dry clothing and have dry clothes when you get there, I guess what I'm saying. So make sure that you have a water resistant bag that you can check. Okay. The second bag we're going to talk about is this one here. This is the one that we're going to take. It's a backpack. This one's made by Orvis, and this is a waterproof bag. This bag is the one that you're going to take into the jungle with you daily as you're fishing. This is the one you're going to put your gear in, stuff that you're going to want to have in this bag. We're going to go over everything, but you're going to want to have your waterproof jacket. You're going to want to have your flies in here. You're going to want to have your sunscreen. If you decide to take mosquito repellent, that would go in here. Extra leader material, extra tippet material, that will all go in here. This is, again, what you take every day into the jungle. So please make sure that you have a good, solid bag. If it's waterproof, that's perfect, that you're going to take into the jungle with you every day. Okay. The last bag we're going to talk about is how we're going to transport our rods there. Okay, this is the bag that I use. It's made by Orvis. It's a travel bag. Oh, there you go. When it opens up, you can see we have compartments. These are usually going to be filled with reels. The rods, you take them out of their tubes, and then the rods suck and they go in here. Let me make sure you can see that. So this is a solid, hard outside, so your rods will all go in here, and I fit 4 or 5 in there very comfortably. That zips up, and this you can put leader material, a buff, something like that you're going to want to transport with you. And down in here you can put hats, reels, extra lines, whatever you need to do. This particular case, like I said, is made by Orvis. It's all Velcro, completely customizable for what you need it for. This was how I had my last one set up for my last trip to Brazil. Each carrier of these had a reel in it. Something similar to this here, it just fits right in there, just perfect like that. Something like that, you're going to have a reel or a spool that you might want to carry down there. So, bags. Those are the 3 bags that are important for this trip. Again, this one to carry your rods and your gear to and from Brazil. This was what I used as my personal item on the airplane, and I used this one here as my carry-on. So I was able to use all those. I put an extra set of clothing in there just in case my other bag didn't show up. You're going to want to put your hooks, anything sharp cannot go in your carry-ons, so make sure those go in your checked baggage. But everything else stayed with me. I wanted to make sure that my rods made it, my reels made it, and so that's why these stayed with me the entire time. So there's the bags. All right, now we're going to talk about rods and reels. I know for the most part this is going to be a fly fishing adventure. We'll talk about this one in just a minute. So what we've got here is let me move some of this other stuff, I'm sorry. I've got 4 rods right here, each made by a different manufacturer. The first one is a Sage. This is a Sage R8. This is Sage's flagship rod right now. This is an R8. It's a 9-foot 8-weight rod. This next one is a Winston. This is a 9-foot 9-weight Air 2 Max. This right now is Winston's large game rod. This one is a Fenwick Atos in a 9-foot 8-weight. This is a little cheaper, a lot cheaper. This rod right now sells for between $200 and $250, whereas these two are both over $1,000. It would still work. The last rod I will show you, this is an Orvis Recon. This is a 10-foot 8-weight. Great rod as well. The only issue you're going into with a 10-foot rod is transporting it in the airport. A 10-foot rod will not fit in my rod carrier, so you'd have to get the larger size rod carrier if you wanted to take a 10-foot rod, or you'd have to use this as your personal item instead of having an extra bag. Regardless of what brand rod you choose to take, I recommend that you get a rod that has a good warranty on it, a rod that is durable, and you're going to want to take 2 or 3 rods minimum. Last year when I was down there, the week I was there, between 8 of us that were there, we broke 3 rods, including this one here. I broke this Sage R8 while we were in Brazil last year. All 3 rods we broke, unfortunately, were Sages, all quality rods. Sage warranted their rod though for me. They fixed it, and it's going back with me this next time. Not all of these rods are going to go back with me. I just wanted to show you guys kind of an idea of what is out there. I'm going to take 2 8-weights and 2 9-weights when I go back. I'm going to take this Sage R8 in an 8-weight. I'm going to take a Winston Alpha Plus in an 8-weight. I'm going to take this Winston Air 2 Max in a 9-weight, and I have another Sage in the model Launch in a 9-weight that I'm going to take with me. I may take the Fenwick as well. Last year when I was down there, I ended up giving my guide a rod, and he loved it. The guides down there are native and may not be as privileged as we are, and so it was something quite special to him. I gave him a tip, and then I gave him a rod and a reel as well. And so this Fenwick may go with me as a gift to a guide. But regardless of what you choose to take, make sure you take several. Like I said, I would recommend taking at least 3 rods. If you break one in the jungle, there is not going to be an opportunity to go to a sporting goods store and buy another. So I recommend taking at least 3 rods with you. Like I said, I'm going to take 5 when I go back this next round. While we're at it, let's talk about reels. Reels are important. Excuse me. As rods are important, the reels, when you start fighting big game fish, like some of these peacock bass that are potentially in the 15-20 pound range, you're going to want a reel that has a solid drag system on it. You're not going to want a real cheap reel. So I've got several here I'm going to show you. The first one, let me move, hopefully get out of the way. Sorry, get at that right. Okay, the first reel I'm going to show you is a Redington Grande, and this reel is Redington's big game reel. It's a great reel. This one is saltwater safe as well if you ever decide to do saltwater. This reel is machined aluminum. It's not cast, so it's going to hold up very well. This rod I've fished in the ocean as well as in Brazil last time, and it has done a phenomenal job. This reel, I believe, for a saltwater safe reel, is pretty reasonable. It's in that $375 range. We'll go over lines in a minute. This is a great reel though. Another reel that has been a great reel. This one is actually in a size 7. This one won't come back with me, but I've got a similar one that will. This is a Lamson Guru. This is actually their HD model, their heavy duty model. Again, saltwater safe. Again, machined aluminum. You're going to want a solid reel. This reel also is in that $300, $350 range. All right. Go over to this one real quick. This one here, this one is the Orvis Hydros. It's in their size 5, 9 to 11 weight reels. This is a great reel as well. With this reel, it's machined aluminum as well. It's really in that same price range. Again, you're just going to want a solid drag system, and all of these have a great drag system on them. Let me show you one more. Next one I'm going to show you is, this one here is made by Sage. This one is their Spectrum C. This is a cast. This is not machined aluminum. This is just their cast reel. Of the price range of all of them, this is definitely the most budget friendly. Whereas this one comes in under $200, I believe. Still a great reel. This one I took with me last time and it held up just fine. Anyway, so there's some reels. But let me show you something. So what we're going to talk about too is you might want to take extra spools for those reels. This is an extra one for the Sage Spectrum. And then here's an extra, there's an extra spool here for that Orvis that I showed you earlier as well. While we're talking about reels, let's talk about lines that go on the reels. Lines. Sam, will you hand me that box right there? Don't. Yeah, actually, go ahead and stand. I'll take it this way. Thanks. We'll put this down here for now. Okay, so as far as lines go, this is an outbound short. It's made by Rio. This is by far the best line that I use down there. This line is a weight forward shooting head line. You're going to want to get this in an intermediate line. This is probably an intermediate sink tip line is the one you're going to want the most. That gets the line down to where the fishing are, most of the fish are at most of the time in the river that we're going to be fishing. You can also get this in a intermediate sink tip line in the sink 5-7, and you're going to want that. Sometimes the bigger fish are sitting down on the bottom, and your guide will show you where you need to cast. You're going to need a sink tip line as well. That's the second most common line that you're going to need, is the sink tip line. The third line that you're going to want is a floating line. A floating line is what you're going to use if you decide to use poppers as you're fishing for these large bass. Poppers can be a lot of fun to watch those big fish explode out of the top and hit those poppers. So lines are important. I like the Rio outbound short. All of these reels right here, every one of them, including the extra spools, they all have Rio outbound short on them. I will take at least one reel with floating line, and then I will have at least a reel and a spool each that have an intermediate and a sink tip. One of the gentlemen that was with us in our group last year was fishing, and a piranha actually chewed through his line. He didn't have an extra line, so he was a little frustrated there. Luckily his guide did, but that was back at camp. I had an experience where I had a large fish on. It was in that 15-pound range. This was on an intermediate tip line, and the fish ran right towards the bank. It got underneath some roots of some of the big trees that are there in the Amazon, and went under the roots and then came back out towards us. And the friction from that branch actually cut my line in half. I didn't lose anything off my leader, but my fly line actually broke in half due to that. That's why I'll be taking at least 5 lines down with me. I'll probably have a 6th just in a box. And probably this one right here was going to go with me. So make sure you have a good quality line. Okay. All right. One more rod I wanted to go over with you real quick. I forgot to show you this one. It's in a very small case, as you can see. What this is, though, this is a spinning rod. So this little spinning rod right here is a telescopic rod that I can pull out, and it's got a reel and everything right here, everything in the case that I need. The reason this is fun to take is literally right off the back of our little houseboats, our little shelters where we're going to be staying. At night, you can see piranhas and some other small little fish, and they are fun to catch literally right off the back of our little shelters. So you may consider something like this that you can take that's small, packable. This will go in my checked baggage, and that way, literally, you can have some fun right off the back of the boat every night. I'm not going to take these lures or anything like that. I'll literally just take some little jig heads, and you can just put some food on there, leftover scraps from the kitchen or whatnot, and that's what you can catch these fish with. So if you think about if that's something that may interest you, you may consider something like that. On this, I just have a braided 8 or 10 pound line on that. But a lot of fun, small rod, easy to pack, easy to take, and then you can catch those piranhas right off the back of the boat. All right, we're going to go over some tippet or leader material that we're going to use. The most common one that we were using down there for leader on tippet material, really that's all we're going to use. We're not going to tie tippet onto leader. This will go straight onto our fly line. Is 40 pound fluorocarbon. Straight 40 pound is going to work great. Let's see if I can show you guys that. This is just a Rio Fluoroflex Strong. So here I have Rio, 40 pound fluorocarbon, and I have 50 pound fluorocarbon right here. And then this is 50 pound saltwater hard mono. This works fine as well. You're just going to want some type of material like that. And what you're going to do is you're going to take about a 6 or 7 foot section from that spool. You're going to tie a perfection loop or a figure 8, and that's going to attach onto your fly line. Just the loop-to-loop system works, and then the other end is literally straight down to your fly. We'll go over flies in a minute. This is something else that I took. The guides were mildly interested in it, but we didn't use it much, and that was the wire bite. Should you decide that there's something in there that has bigger teeth than you're used to, and you would rather have a wire on there, this is 40 pound wire bite, also by Rio. Kind of fun to have. You can, from this, you could tie straight to your leader to this, and then just like as you would a leader to a tippet, and then this to your fly. This is even though it's wire, it's very easy to tie. You can tie that straight to your fly without any problem. As far as knots go, from your leader to your fly, I recommend, if you don't know how to tie it, learn how to tie a non-slip loop knot. Not difficult to tie, and there are plenty of tutorials on YouTube that can teach you how to tie this knot. If for whatever reason it's difficult, I'd be glad to show you how to tie that knot. Now we're going to talk about fly selection. One thing is the box. This box here, it's not too big. It fits in my bag quite easily, and I can still fit a lot of flies in here. Most of the flies we're going to be using are going to be large streamer type flies. So without further ado, let's get into some of them. Okay, so this is the type of fly that we're going to be using. Most of them are about 4 inches long. These up here, this is a popper type fly up here, and these are all streamer type flies. So the flies I would recommend getting are from Bucket List Fly Fishing. You can get on their website, or you can get on Rob Anderson's YouTube, and he will show you how to tie a Space Invader if you want to tie your own. Space Invaders have worked extremely well. A lot of these in here are Space Invaders. These ones down here are made by Enrique Puglisi Flies, and they're called the Amazon Special. Several of those have rattles in them. The rattle is used for attracting fish. There's none in here right now, but one thing you will definitely see in a lot of them in my box, there is a Space Invader that is pink, blue, and white. It models a Jacunda fish, and I will have a lot of those in my box before we go. So please make sure you have plenty of flies. Again, you probably won't lose very many. The reason you're going to want a lot of flies is because the piranhas in there will chase your flies, and they will eat them until there's not hardly anything left. They will eat all the feathers, and there's just not much left of your fly once the piranhas get done with them. So please get flies. I would recommend getting at least 30 or 40 flies, and that way you have enough to get through the week. All right, one more thing we're going to go over before we finish up. Shoes. Obviously, as you're traveling there, just a good quality pair of shoes will work fine. You're going to want to be comfortable on the flight down there. There may be some long layovers in Panama or Florida, so just a good pair of quality shoes. Once you get there, you'll probably be in flip-flops or Keen type sandals the whole time you're there. I wore these out fishing every day I was there. However, once I got on the boat, one thing that I did was that I always took my shoes off and I went barefoot all day. Just remember sunscreen on your feet. You want to bring an extra towel or two. One towel for actually drying yourself off when you're after you finish bathing or whatnot. The second one is literally to put down so that your feet don't get rubbed raw on the boat. The boat can also get quite hot on the flooring. It's a rubberized floor, but it can still get hot and can still kind of rip up your feet. So if you take an extra towel to put over that, you can easily get that wet and keep your feet cool. And you can also easily protect your feet from getting broken up. So something to consider is an extra towel or two. While we're speaking about the towels, please make sure and bring a swimming suit. There are showers in our little cabins. How that works is the showers literally suck water right up through the bottom of the boat, and that's the water that comes out. It's not clean drinking water, it's river water that you're bathing in. What we found was just more efficient and a lot more fun was after we got home each night, all of us would grab a bar of soap, put our swimsuits on, and we'd go jump in the river and basically bathe in the river. It was a lot of fun, and don't worry about piranhas. Don't have to worry about that. They're there, but they're not going to bother you. Anyway, we had a lot of fun, but you're going to want a towel, a clean towel to dry yourself off before bed, before dinner. One other thing, I don't know if you've noticed this or if you've heard about it, but one thing that Bucket List Fly Fishing Adventures does that I thought was excellent was their staff would set up a table in the river each night when we got back, and they would have drinks ready for us and hors d'oeuvres, and we could all sit basically in the river. The chairs would be about the seats would be about water level, and we'd sit there, stay cool, and have a great time reminiscing about the day before dinner. We had a great time, and I'm excited to share those experiences with you all. A few more pieces of gear that I really like. Fortunately, I speak Portuguese. That helps me out quite a bit. However, I still take a dictionary with me in case there's a word that I don't remember or I don't know. Years ago, I was fortunate enough to live in a country for a couple of years where I had the opportunity to speak Portuguese. However, a dictionary is still important to me. So if you choose that, the country we're obviously will be in is Brazil, and they speak Portuguese, so English-Portuguese dictionary is important to me. Okay, while you're out on the water, there's a few things that are important, and we'll go over those real quick. Polarized sunglasses. Polarized sunglasses are a must. Please remember, we will be right on the equator, and we're going to need sunglasses. So I recommend taking 2 pair. I've got a pair of Oakleys, and then these ones are a pair of, I think they're just Ray's Wear or something like that. They came from a local sporting goods store, fairly inexpensive. However, always a smart idea to have 2 pair of sunglasses in case something happens to one. There's enough happens out in the jungle that you've got to be careful, and really the essential items, make sure you have 2 of. Okay, so sunglasses. A pair of pliers. Again, we'll put these in our checked bag. We've got to remember that everything out there that we're going to be catching, they're not like trout here. Everything has big, nasty teeth. Guides will help you quite a bit, but if you don't want a guide to take your fish off every single time, which can get time consuming, just make sure you have a pair of pliers and good solid pliers. Remember, some of our hooks we're going to be using are 2-aught, 3-aught hooks, and they're huge and they're sharp, and they'll absolutely impale you. And the fish have just crazy sharp teeth, and they will get you. So make sure you have a solid pair of pliers. These are just literally something cheap from Lowe's. You can get something like this, or you can get an actual pair of fishing pliers. You can pick them up at any of your local sporting goods stores. I carry a Leatherman type tool with me. This one here is made by SOG. It's a great tool. It's small. It's high quality. Again, Leatherman, Gerber, all make great little tools. This is just, like I said, I like this one because it's so small and compact. This will be in my bag with me every day. You're going to want a high quality pair of nippers. This one is made by Dr. Slick. They have carbide blades. The tippet, the leader, 50 pound leader, is not easy to cut through for the little cheap nippers that you buy for $1.99 at the local sporting goods store. So make sure you have a quality pair of nippers. This one here is actually probably the most reasonable that are quality. They cost, I think, 20-25 bucks, something like that. But you get the carbide blades. They cut right through the tippet material without any issues at all. This pair actually I have on a lanyard so that I can wear it around my neck and I can just take care of business when I need to. The next thing is you are going to need some type of stripping guard. Okay, the stripping guard is what will go on your finger. Remember, when you're fishing, we are going to be stripping in line all day, and you, after a little while, it literally will rub your fingers raw. The line will, if you don't have a good stripping guard. So you can get stripping guards like this one. This one's made by Strippee, S-T-R-I-P-E-E. You can get them on Amazon. These ones here, this is what I took last time. They were just stripping guards for your fingers, and you can put them on one at a time like this. Same thing, you just, when you're stripping the line through, you're going to want them on at least your pointer finger and your middle finger. That way your fingers don't get rubbed raw. Your fingers will still be chewed up by the end of the trip. They will be chewed up from grabbing fish, and the bass, even though the bass are smaller, don't have as nasty of teeth, they still will chew you up. So please make sure you get that. We'll move into a few of the other items we're going to want to take. You're going to want to have sunscreen. Absolutely going to want to have sunscreen. We are right on the equator in the jungle, and it is hot, and the sun is literally bearing down on you from 6 in the morning until 6 at night, and you are going to want plenty of sunscreen. That is a must. Down there, mosquito repellent, bug repellent isn't as essential. When you stay on the water, there's a chemical in the water that is called tannin, and it is kind of a natural bug repellent. And so the whole week I was down there last week, I never had a problem with mosquitoes. So if you want to take the bug repellent, that's your prerogative. I won't, but I'll make sure to have plenty of this. Next thing we're going to talk about is just a little bag that you're going to want in your toiletries that has just some medications. In this one I've got NyQuil, I've got Imodium, and I've got Tylenol. I needed all 3 of those last time I was down there. I didn't have all of them. Luckily, there was another gentleman there that had what I needed. But for the next round, make sure that, I think that's a crucial piece of equipment right there that you're going to want to have. Okay, so make sure that's in your toiletry bag. Hats, you're going to want 2 good quality hats, at least 2. Please, things to take into consideration is the mesh on the back of this one. This one came with me. Although there aren't mosquitoes, there are some other bugs, and kind of like the big horsefly types, and they will actually bite you through the mesh. Something to consider. Something else to consider is if you're bald like I am, the sun will beat right through this mesh. And so that's something to consider. Even though I love this hat and I'm sure it's going to come with me again, consider taking something else that doesn't have a mesh back. That way it protects your head from any bugs and any extra sun that you might not want. Okay. Obviously this shouldn't come as a surprise, but you're going to need a passport. So make sure you have that passport. Something else that you're going to need to start working on in the next couple months, as soon as we have our plane tickets, is you are going to need a visa to Brazil. You're going to have that visa. That is a process that takes a little while, so you're going to need to make sure you get that done. Once you get it, it lasts for 10 years. So that's great if you decide it's something you want to go back and do again. But that is a process that's going to need to get started so that you can have that done by the time it's time to go. So make sure that that's a process we get working on. I'll go over a couple more quick things and then we'll be done. You're going to want a good buff. Again, a good buff for sun protection. It goes around your neck. Make sure that you have the proper sun protection that you need, because it is hot and you will get burned. Even with all this stuff, you're still going to get a lot of sun. you're still gonna have some sunburns, I would assume. You're gonna want to take, as far as clothing goes, let's go over clothing real quick. Take a couple t-shirts, obviously, and then you're gonna want to take some fishing shirts, some hooded fishing shirts. These are long sleeve hooded shirts. This one's made by Simms. This other one here I have is made by Hook. Both great quality shirts. Like I said, it's hot down there. You might want sun gloves as well. You're just going to want to be protected from the sun. It is really hot down there. I recommend taking 3 of these shirts. One nice thing is that our laundry is done for us daily. I'm going to let you know that when we do go, just be aware that if you don't want this done, you're gonna have to tell them. Usually, what the staff will do is they'll mark our shirts with these little dots like that. Like I said, they do our laundry every day. This little dot, there's 5 dots because I was in cabin number 5, so that let them know that my clothes went to cabin number 5, so that when I came back from fishing, my clothes were clean. All my clothes were there, not somebody else's. So hopefully that's okay with all of you, that your clothes might get some dots on them. That's how it goes. As far as shorts go, these ones are made by Hook. These are my favorite shorts. They dry very quickly. They're vented in the bottom, very lightweight. Like I said, these are made by Hook. I think they cost about $60. Well worth every penny. I know you can get it at the Sportsman's Warehouse, at Al's Sporting Goods. You can get these a lot of places. This is what I lived in most of the time. There was a day or two, though, however, that I was, my legs just needed a break from the sun, and that's when you're going to want a good, lightweight pair of pants that dry quickly and easily. This particular pair here is made by Patagonia. Great quality pair of pants. Simms and Orvis also make a great pair of pants that dry easily, quickly. That's something you're going to want to take. So I hope this helps you out. I hope you're excited. It's going to be a good time. I'm very excited to spend a week in the jungles with all of you, and I hope you have a great day.